everybody out there, Mike here, and this is going to be a weird one, because I usually put my final thoughts of a game into the credits, but as you heard at the end of the finale, a situation emerged. My daughter stubbed her toe, which broke her toenail, which started bleeding, and I had to go deal with that. So I didn't have time to put my final thoughts into the credits. So I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to be brutally honest. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I mean, it was humorous at first when they were like kids. But then, when Aspel and the others grew up 7 years later, it was after the boss with the fight with the first Nova monster. That's when I started to get burned out. It's the same case as Final Fantasy X-2. It's just something I could not get drawn into. And mostly, my wife says she enjoys the story. Alright, let me put a disclaimer here. Just because I'm saying that I don't enjoy the game, that does not mean that it's a bad game. It's a good game in its own right. It's just not for me. Okay, I'm more of a Final Fantasy fan. I grew up with Final Fantasy, and that's just, what the hell? Okay. Excuse me. So yeah, I just wasn't a fan. So, excuse me. Where's my water? And if you're wondering about the setup that I got going on right now, it'll be revealed in part 1 of the next game. So anyway, oh shit. So anyway, story-wise, my wife says she enjoys it, but for me, I have seen bits and pieces of it. It's like, I'm not saying I played every Final Fantasy game, but it's like, out of all the Final Fantasy games I've played, I've kind of picked up that this game has elements of all the Final Fantasies here and there. The only things that are different is like the names. For example, like the Creuses, like the 3 Creuses that are powering like elements. That's akin to the 4 crystals from Final Fantasies 1 through 5. Let's see. The airship's been around since Final Fantasy 1. But even Lambda, and I said this in the finale, Lambda is parable to Jenova, to the point where they say, Lambda cells, Jenova cells. Lambda can control creatures injected with Lambda cells. Jenova can control creatures injected with Jenova cells, okay? So there's that. And the fact that, damn, it's lightning out there. Well, not lightning, but thunder. Anyway, and the fact that, like, the characters are not that different. I'll get to that in a moment. The characters are not that different. That's similar to Final Fantasies 7 and 8, where it doesn't really matter who you have in the party. You're going to kick ass anyway. Although, again, I'll get to that in a moment. Yeah, just, it's like somebody was a fan of Final Fantasy and they wrote, like, they went to some kind of AI, and the AI just kind of pulled elements of Final Fantasy and just slapped it all together into one story. Excuse me, but anyway, that's how I feel about the story. It's not original for me. Oh, in the part where they go to a different planet, guess what? Final Fantasy IV, when they go to the fucking moon. Alright? So, there's nothing new. Oh, another one. The humanoids. They remind me a lot of the genomes from Final Fantasy IX. It's not really an original story. Now, back to what I was saying about the party members. They're just not different enough. Like if I had Asbel, Sharia, Hubert, and Sophie just all throughout the game, I could beat the game with just those 4 characters. There is no time where I needed Malik or Pascal. Even when they get those power rings, they were just moot. They were just there. Music, nothing remarkable. I didn't really find the game epic until the final boss. That was the only time I found, the music to be great. Graphics, it looks pretty good. For a PlayStation, it was actually my first PlayStation 3 game I ever played, believe it or not. During those times, I was playing Xbox 360. So, yeah. The world, it was... I know once you think about it, a lot of these RPGs, the world's not that big, but this one was pretty small, okay? And if you think about it, you go around in a loop about twice. You started out in Windor, then you go to Strata, then you go to Fendel, then you go back to Lant, and then you go back to Strata, and then you go back to Fendel, and then you go back to Lant. It's just... And then you go to the center, where they do a fake-out final dungeon, and that pissed me off, okay? The fake-out of the final dungeon. And... yeah, I was just getting burned out and frustrated, and I think it was part 72. Unfortunately, you guys saw my frustration kind of boil over. That was really not my shining moment. But I've said this quite a few times. It's not a secret. Sometimes I just become a total bitch. Okay. And, I apologize for it outside of camera, on camera, and we made up. And it's not a regular occurrence, otherwise I wouldn't be married for this long. So, anyway, I don't think I have anything... Oh, wait, the battle system. I almost forgot about the battle system. Quite frankly, I find it chaotic. Right? So, when it comes to RPGs, I'm either for an action RPG or a turn-based RPG. This one tried to be like somewhere in between, but neither. like the CC. I didn't have a problem with the CC, whatever the hell CC stands for, because it reminds me a lot of The Secret of Mana. You know, it had a similar thing going. That was no issue for me. But it was the fact that movement was awkward. It took me a while to get used to the fact that I cannot move freely. I can only go forward and backwards. The only time I can go side to side to flank an enemy is if I stop, block, then strafe. And that's really awkward. And especially in the heat of battle. And also, it took me a while to figure out that it's kind of, the strafing's kind of tank control-y. You know, like, if you're facing it this way, strafing side to side is not up and down. It's still left and right. So that was a thing. I kind of don't like it when they all just, they're all announcing their attacks at the same time, and it's just a cacophony of shut the fuck up. You know, battle grunts, that's one thing. I can handle that. That's not going to bother me. But it's like Calamity Ronzo, Lightning Fang, Eagle Punch, you know, just shut up. I mean, I found out there was like a menu that you can turn that down, but you also turn down the victory dialogue, and that makes it really awkward. And it's like you can't win with this game. You can't. Now, what was I about to say? It was like, it was something about the battle system. Like, it reminded me more of, I mean, in terms of like how you attack, it reminds me more of like when you're playing an action RPG and you set commands to like a shortcut, and you have like a shortcut menu, and like with a couple of presses of a button you do a certain attack. Now imagine that all of your attacks were like that. That, it's just, and there's so many arts that I just can't learn them all. I just stuck with the initial ones. I set the most important one to neutral circle, and I just went through the whole game like that. And I figured out at one point that you can switch characters and input commands like that. But, you know, I played through the whole game with everybody else just following a certain strategy. That's the only thing that I change is the strategy. And they, I really didn't find a need to switch characters in the middle of battle like I do in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I could just play the whole game controlling Aspel. And this is on normal, by the way. Okay, I played through the whole game on normal just so I can compare the difficulty of that game with Final Fantasy games. And my thing is, it's not as hard, but the one thing that will dick you over is if you have an unfavorable party go into a boss cutscene, you're stuck with those people until you die, and then you're able to change the party. Not really a fan of that. And yeah, I guess that's it. That's all I have to say about Tales of Grace's F, which, without any jokes, I can probably say that F stands for Fodra. I don't know. Now, I know there was DLC, and I didn't play it, but there's plenty of people out there that have played it, so you can watch them. For me, at the end, it wrapped up nicely. There were no loose ends. I just don't think the DLC was necessary. Okay, but if you think so, watch somebody else. I also think somebody kind of disliked a couple of my videos. One of them, understandably so. Okay, understandably so. I could get like 999 million dislikes on part 72, and they're all well deserved. Okay, but the finale did have a dislike, but it was taken down for some reason. And I was wondering, like, why the finale? And then I noticed that there was a dislike on Cards Against Humanity as well when I did the filler. And then I'm starting to think that somebody doesn't like my humor. I made a lot of homosexual homosexual and fart jokes in the game, but the thing is, it's like, okay, for those of you that get offended by homosexual jokes and stuff, do I actually believe that Aspel and Richard are gay? No, I don't think the writers intended for them to be gay. But dudes, when a boy gives another boy his ring, when they hold hands, not like this, but like this, okay? That's something. And then when they say things like, "That's what I love about him," okay, that one's a little like, even straight bros will say that. But my dear Asbel, I have a best friend, but I would never say my dear John. Okay, it's just nuances. I think that's the right way to say the word. But I don't literally think that they're gay. Just nuances. It was just, every one of my games has a running gag, and that was my running gag, along with the fart jokes. And if you're wondering why did I choose fart jokes, it was the part where Richard was like, no, don't come out. And the first thing that came out of my hand was like, is he talking about poop? And then just from then on, I just ran with it. It's like, I only meant for it to do it like once or twice, but then like the opportunities just kept popping up. So that's just the reason. It's immature humor, but like I said, all of my playthroughs has a running gag. And I'm pretty sure while playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I've already recorded the first two parts of it, all that's left is to edit. I'm pretty sure I'll find a running gag with that too. I don't know what it is, but I'll find it. Okay, I think that pretty much covers everything. I'm just I'm just happy that this game is over. Spent 3 months on it. I do not regret honoring my wife's choice. All right, she chose to play this on her month to choose, and I don't regret doing it. I regret playing the game. I just don't regret honoring her wish. If that makes any sense. But I think what I'll start doing from now on is like let her make her request in August. That way I'll have like 2.5 months or so to beat that, so I can go into my Halloween special, and then I'll have like 2 months or so to do that. And then December, I'll get to do Final Fantasy on time. I meant to do Final Fantasy 16 on time, but I guess by divine intervention, I get to do Final Fantasy VII Rebirth while it's relatively new. So hopefully you guys stick around for that. Alright, so anyway, until the next time, you guys take it easy. Don't forget to subscribe. Molest that notification bell so you don't miss any more cringeworthy content from this asshole. And spread the word around because YouTube algorithm is a pyramid scheme. Alright, until the next time, later everyone.